Oh. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Woo! Today on episode 262, I am very lucky, privileged to have William Branum on the podcast. He is a former Navy SEAL of 26 years. He is now in the world of civilians. Yes, CEO. And basically, he likes to get naked. Well, in the mindset of things. I have been told he has had rap battles with people in banana suits, but that's another story for another time. But William, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. I like how you just rolled that right in there.
Hey, you know what? I had to. I couldn't resist. You told me. It didn't feel like it was like, don't tell, like, this is in confidence. I don't tell.
I put a thing in my Instagram stories the other day, and or last night. I was like, you won't believe this, but I had a podcast with a guy in a banana suit. True story. Send. My inbox this morning was full of like people just laughing, like, are you kidding me? Or your podcasts are great and la la la, whatever. I was like, yeah, it's true. It was true.
Tell me this though. Was it a good podcast episode? Banana suit.
It was good. He was a little bit unprepared, okay. But it was okay because he was pretty good at like shooting from the hip.
I see. The shooting from the hip type fella.
I mean, for sure, I didn't expect the rap battle question to happen. He was like, you know what? Let's do a rap battle. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not very good at rapping. So I'm gonna pass on that one today. I'll answer almost anything else that you asked. I did consider it. I was like, I need to like, if I'd had that question a week ahead of time, I would have like brushed up on some like on my rap. But
let me see what you went with, East Coast or West Coast flavor. I have to know now. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, giving it the old East Coast, but no, nevertheless. Now, before we get into the meat and veg of it all, now I have to ask. Being a former Navy SEAL for 26 years, like, can you watch any action film without rolling your eyes?
Maybe. It's hard. I don't watch a lot of them. I think the last one that I watched was so the book was really, really, really good. It was Without Remorse. Tom Clancy wrote it. And I read this book 25, 30 years ago. And then Amazon made the movie. The movie was terrible. Terrible. The guy was a former Navy SEAL, It was terrible. Like, they couldn't have done a worse job.
Like, what was terrible about it? Was it just or was it just...
It didn't meet the storyline. The acting was terrible. The special effects were terrible. Everything about the movie was terrible. It was just terrible.
Oh my Lord. No.
Next time, hire me to come and like help you make the movie.
I'm sorry, I did not know I was going to put you through like film trauma. My apologies. I shall back away from no. So now this is the thing. Okay, 26 years of like someone's life committed to one job, especially a job. Well, let's just say it's not what I would say. I'm just going off to work now, and it's gonna be like pushing a little bit of paper here or pushing a little bit of paper there. What drew you into this career, like this calling, this vocation?
Ever since I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to be part of some sort of elite military organization. I was in the Boy Scouts. I became an Eagle Scout. I ended up going to that was kind of a long time ago. Even though I look very young, I'm much older than I appear. But you know, when I was a kid, we didn't have cable TV. There was certainly no internet. You know, I had 4 channels that we could choose from. Yeah. So anyway, I watched, you know, John Wayne movies. I watched a little bit of Chuck Norris movies. I watched some Kung Fu theater. So I wanted to be a ninja when I grew up, and things like that. And so I didn't really know what an elite military organization was, but I met a kid who was like, yeah, when I grow up, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL and an F-14 Tomcat pilot, you know, the movie Top Gun, the original Top Gun movie. I haven't seen the new one that came out yet.
To watch the new
and
one.
I was like,
Great.
I've heard it's very good. And I don't have to roll my eyes because there's no scenes, you know, combat scenes like that in there. And so I was like, that's cool. I want to be an F-14 Tomcat pilot. And what's a Navy SEAL? And he was like, oh, it's the most elite military force in the world, the hardest military training. They jump out of airplanes, they shoot guns, they blow stuff up. They work in small units, you know, very tactical. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Sign me up. Although I swore I would never join the Navy. And then I came back from that trip where I met this kid, and the Navy recruiter calls my house and says, hey, have you ever thought about joining the Navy? And I was like, oh. Well, I do want to be a Navy SEAL and an F-14 Tomcat pilot. And so he was like, come on down. And like, he showed me this video, and I was like, where do I sign? So basically I joined the Navy before I graduated high school, like between my 11th and 12th grade. And so I joined the Navy in the delayed entry program. I finished high school, and pretty much a couple weeks after I graduated, off to boot camp I went.
Good. Okay. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I have no idea what type of teenager you were, but to you know what, having a quick conversation with someone like that, yeah, F4, like Tomcat pilot, and yeah, Navy SEAL, and you're like, you know what, that sounds good to me. It's like, and then
let's do it.
Yeah, ending up in a recruitment office. What was how can I put it? Was there a sort of misconception in your mind from how you saw it in your mind and when you got there?
I think what I saw in my mind was the training,
yes,
but not really what goes on the team. So I made it through the training eventually, and then I was like, okay, everything's going to be easy now. That's not really the case at all. It actually, I've been more miserable in train at the team and in combat than I was ever in SEAL training. SEAL training is just like a job interview. It's a very long, detailed job interview. Do you have what we think you need to have to show up? And then you show up at the team and you're still not a SEAL. You still got to prove yourself once you get there.
Okay. Like, what was your boat crew?
Oh, so throughout SEAL training, you generally, at least in the first part of SEAL training, you work as a boat crew, and it's 7 guys, and it's based on how tall you are. And so I got injured a few times when I first started SEAL training, and so I got rolled back several times, and then I was still injured, but they're like, if you can't complete training, then you got to go away. And I was like, well, I'll just be injured. No big deal. And so I made it to Hell Week. And then I'm watching in Hell Week, like all these, and I'm with some people that I like in the boat crew, but then there are other people that just don't want to put out, they don't want to like work hard and like win races. So I'm like, yo, you got to go, or I can't be around you anymore. And those people eventually quit, but I got out of that boat crew early on because I saw this other boat crew that continued to win races. Hell Week is like week number 5 or 6 in SEAL training. They keep changing it up, but so it's like out of 26 weeks. So we're at week 6, and Sunday night, I'm watching this one boat crew win, and then people are quitting. And then Monday, I'm watching the same boat crew continue to win, and I'm like, I want to be in that boat crew because the bunch of these guys don't want to be here. So we lost enough people. They had to reline us up and shuffle the boat crews around. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in boat crew 3. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be number 5, and then 6 and 7. And so I made sure that I was in boat crew 3. I was in boat crew 4 before, but we're all about the same height. And so I got into boat crew 3. And then from there, we won every race for the rest of Hell Week. And it was a lesson. It was a beautiful lesson that I learned. When I got into that boat crew, there were no superstars. Everybody was just average Joe, but we all had this uncommon desire to be in the front. We all had this uncommon desire to suffer in the front instead of suffer in the back. Because in Hell Week and SEAL training and whatever it is, it sucks. You're going to suffer. You have 2 choices: quit or keep going. Your second choice is, do you, if you decide to stay, do you suffer in the back or do you suffer in the front? And it's always better to suffer in the front and win.
Like winning, yes, but like you are all there suffering. But like, was it a case for yourself, just the feeling of, yes, we're achieving victories when you switch to boat crew 3, rather than sort of like just, okay, I'm just tough enough to grit it out, you know what I mean, with the few members of my boat crew who are, you know, pushing forward to get through to the next stage, aside for the ones who dropped out?
I think for me, it was just surrounding myself with people who wanted to win, people who are going to hold themselves to a higher standard. And by surrounding myself by these guys that were holding themselves to a higher standard, I naturally gravitated up to their standard rather than my standard, which was down here. Like, just get through it, just suffer. So when I was with those guys and I would feel sorry for myself, I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts, my lungs are on fire, my legs, I'm so tired, I feel so bad for myself, the little pity party I'm having. I'm like, but I can't let these other 6 guys down, so I have to suck it up and drive on. Meanwhile, they would have their own pity party, and we were all kind of like bringing one another up. And there were times when you just didn't feel like doing it anymore. But you did it anyway, because you're not going to let your team down. I'm not going to slow the boat crew down. Like, I feel honored to be here, so I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that we win.
Yeah, no,
or at least to not let the boat crew down.
Absolutely. I like the fact that you went, rise to a higher standard. I think in many a time, well, I wouldn't say today, but I think many a person, rather than sort of rising to a higher standard, they will let themselves either stagnate, or like they will find that 1 or 2 excuses to sort of like get them out of it. So they can like go, right, they go, yeah, but at least I tried. It was because of this. It was because of that. It was because of this. But
a lot of excuses,
yeah. But like to like go, you know what? Okay, right. I'm surrounded by people who are actually striving for excellence, who are striving to do something different, to be better than they were the day before, to get up to that level, and like going, okay, let me step up. Says a lot. It's a huge thing. And a huge lesson to learn, I think.
And that was, and you know, that was a beautiful thing about being in the SEAL teams, is it didn't matter what my rank was, how long I've been there, or anything like that. I wasn't allowed to have a pity party in the SEAL teams either, because I was holding my new guys accountable. I was holding older guys accountable, and they were in turn holding me accountable. If I had like whatever, I'm not performing to the level that I should be, then like the newest guy would call me out. Like, bro, you can't talk to me like that. Actually, I can, because you're not performing. Oh yeah, you're right, you can. So I always had to make sure that I was performing, trying to always outperforming the new guy, the young guy, the guy who's faster, stronger, smarter, whatever. Like I have to beat him always.
Basically, he's the iron sharpening your sword, in other words.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Like, I am curious, like, what after you got through your training to like get into the SEAL Street, like to become a proper all-American Navy SEAL. I have to say it like that. Yeah, it's written in the contract. Like, what? All-American SEAL. Like, yeah. what would you say was like the sort of difference between training and now being on the team, like proper first time around?
In SEAL training, you know it's going to end. You know they're only going to keep you out there for a certain amount of time, and it's going to end. Even Hell Week, which is 5.5 days of no sleep, you're cold, you're wet, you're miserable. You know that like those, there are, you know that they're going to feed you 4 times a day. So no matter how much it sucks, all you got to do is make it to the next meal and you get a little break. In the SEAL teams, it's not like that. You could be going for days, and if you need to eat, you got to figure that out. In combat, we go out for a couple hours, and then we're still out there 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. Like, this isn't exactly what we signed up for. We didn't quite plan this one out. So yeah, that's just the way it is. In training, you know it's going to end. In the real world, even training in the SEAL teams, you don't know when it's going to end. You get to the end, they're like, okay, no, we're going to keep going for another week. What? I didn't bring enough. We'll resupply you in the field. Ready to go. Just to prepare you for that unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Like, you know, because like this, like to like go, yeah, okay, like welcome to the team. Great. Congratulations. Great. You're being deployed. Great. Okay. How long for? Don't worry
long
about
enough.
it. Yeah. You'll know when it's over. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Keep moving. So while you like when you were on the teams, like you went like from what I've read, I may have got this wrong, but like yeah, you went from like being a regular sort of all-American Navy SEAL to basically leading all-American Navy SEALs out there. What was the sort of difference between like just being a team like player and a leader in that sort of situation? Like, what would you say learned from that?
Oh my God. I learned, what did I learn? What didn't I learn? I learned that, so I learned a lot of things, but I think one of the most important things that I learned was I knew I didn't know everything. I didn't have all the information as a leader, which I thought I needed to know all the information. But when I became brave enough to ask for help, like not giving up, like, I don't know, not saying I don't know how to do this, more like, hey, how would you guys handle this situation? How would you solve this problem? And so I would empower my junior personnel in like figuring out the solution that I didn't know. And so then like now I've given them ownership, and once they have ownership, they and respect, they're like they run with it and they solve the problem, and I learn from them. But I had to be like brave enough to ask that question instead of sitting back and saying, I know everything, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah, because like this is the thing. It's interesting you say that, because like most people would assume it's like, okay, you're in charge of your group, your team, and it's a case of you lead them. Like not to sort of like a, hey, you know what? Empowerment, it's not one of the things which look, I'm civvy street, civilian, all of that, never served or anything like this. So like I don't know, but I would say many people in like civilian life wouldn't assume, like just assume it would be a case of you're the boss. You say everything. You say you go here, do this, do that. You might be getting orders and away you go. But to like go, hey, you are the boss, but you're empowering members of your team to like go out there and do stuff. It's it's kind of very sort of 21st century forward thinking, which I don't think many people would assume, well, come to that conclusion, you know?
No, I think, and so I also, so now I do some consulting or coaching, advising, I'm not sure the right word to use, to different companies different, leadership in the companies. And those are a lot of the things that I tell them to do. It's like, who's the most junior person in your organization? Who you don't think knows go talk to the secretary. Ask the secretary how to solve this problem. I bet he or she knows. I bet they have a better answer than you do. Go find the junior person, ask them. And they do. And the answers that you get back, first of all, you have to like break down that barrier, because there's like, depending on the size of the organization, you have leadership at this like crystal palace, like the C-suite that no one really wants to like go and talk to. I'll get in trouble, I'll get fired, whatever. The way you empower your people is you leave your crystal palace and you get down to what we call the deck plate, and you talk to those people, talk to those employees, talk to those people that are actually making the money for the organization. Ask them, how can we solve this problem? They have probably a better idea of how to do it than you do.
I hear you.
When you empower the many to, it's like, it's awesome to watch. And then you get more loyalty that way.
No, I hear you. I get where you're coming from. It makes sense to me when you say it like that, because yes, one of the things in this day and age, like what many organizations want, is loyalty from their like staff, so they can stick around. But it's not that easy. Now, the reason why I'm sort of going through, like, make it clear why I'm sort of like asking you about your sort of like service going through. One, is a huge chunk of your like section of your life, but two, it's like I want to sort of understand like how you've gone through your military like career, and that you've done something which is very hard for many a service person. You have successfully transitioned from your military life into your civilian life, which not a lot of people actually talk about in this day and age. No, it's true though. Like, it's like, yeah, you're like, if you think like from where I sit, if you're in the military, you are told to get up, do this, go here, do this. You have a very structured life. It might be, They might be surrounded by chaos and everything like this, but you know where you're going to be, and you basically know where you need to be at certain times, and you get up, do this. But when that structure is gone for a lot of military people, it's like, yeah, now it's up to you. And if you haven't been doing that for a number of years, and 26 years is a long time, you know what I mean? For you to like go, yes, I've transitioned. Did that transition come easy to you, or was there sort of challenges for yourself?
So for me, I tell people that my transition from the military to civilian life is the hardest military mission I've ever been on. And it's really for that reason that you just said. All I've ever known is the military, from the time I graduated high school till 2018 when I retired, air quotes here. All I've known is the military. And what I tell people is, if you've ever seen, like, the way it felt for me is, if you've ever seen the movie The Avengers, where Thanos like snaps his fingers and half the world's population goes away, that's kind of the way I felt. Is, in the military, I had a purpose, I had a mission, and I had a team. I had a badass purpose, a badass mission, and a badass team. And the day that I left the military, it was all gone. Boom, done. So then now I have to like figure out, what is my purpose? I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no mission, and I have no team to do it with. So it was a very long process to figure out like who I am, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, what's my mission, my purpose, and who is my team? Who do I surround myself with now? Because, like, I saw Boat Crew 3 winning all these races in Hell Week. I'm like, I want to be in Boat Crew 3. So I went and got into Boat Crew 3. I want to be on this specific team. So I went and got on that team. I want to be a sniper. So I went and became I went to sniper school. I want to be a sniper instructor. So I went and became a sniper instructor. But I had direction. I had like things to look for, people to look up to. I had mentors along the way. I didn't have any of that when I got out. The military does a great job of bringing you in and training you. They put you in boot camp. They give you the structure. They make you assimilate into the organization. And it's, months at a time to become a military person. But the training that they give you on the way out, they give you like a week of like how to write a resume and how to do a budget. That is all they give you on the way out the door. All right, see you later. Good luck. And so they don't prepare you at all. I certainly was not prepared. I was in denial. I had a BlackBerry and I was returning emails the day before I got out. I'm like still working on projects and things. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't here. Comms people, you probably need this more than I do because I'm not doing that job anymore after today. So I was in denial because I knew my mission, my purpose, and my team while I was in. But as soon as I got out, it was all gone, and I had to like figure out who the hell I am and what I'm supposed to do with my life.
Yeah. So days, weeks after you're out, so how did you start to sort of what came first? Was it finding a new mission, finding a new purpose, or basically finding a new team? What got you on track, on the path where you are today?
It was a lot of failure. So I started a company right away to help other companies navigate the military acquisition system. So let's just say, my last 3 years, I was at the headquarters. I wasn't kicking doors. I was at the headquarters, and my job was the science and technology director. Weird that a Navy SEAL has that title, but what my job was, so we have the system. It's called the Operational Deficiency Report System, ODR. And so basically, to be an ODR, it's basically we can't do our job. Whether it's maybe we don't have the training to do the job, maybe we don't have the technology to do the job, maybe we don't have the authorities to do the job. So a lot of the things that we had that were technology driven, I went out and I found $16 million of other people's money to solve these problems that we had. We created technology that did not exist, from quantum cascading lasers to underwater communication devices to different kinds of technology. And from that, I was like, okay, so I have this Rolodex, I have this capability, I have this skill set. I will help other companies, if they have a thing that's not quite ready for prime time, I can get it in front of a good customer, and I can help get the money for it to bring it up to prime time. And then, I get a piece of the commission. I'm on retainer, all this other stuff. And companies didn't really like, I was calling myself a consultant at the time, and they were like, oh, consultants, they're all criminals. They just take, but they don't give. And I was like, okay, so my first mistake was I called myself a consultant, even though I knew some guys that were very successful consultants. Yeah. So I had to change that. And then people were like, okay, well, you sell my widget. Your widget sucks, by the way. You sell my widget, and if you sell enough of them, we'll give you a commission. I don't work for free, my friend. It doesn't work. Like, I'm not flying around the country trying to sell your thing that doesn't even work, and then not getting paid for it. So there was a lot of struggling back and forth. I still did pretty well in some of the things that I was doing, but I wasn't happy doing it. And so I was also, consuming a lot of alcohol, and I started to also be connected to other people who were, ninjas in the business world. And I was like, I don't need coaching. I don't need any of that. I don't need whatever. I didn't really realize what I needed at the time. And I also discovered CBD, this molecule, CBD from the hemp plant. And so CBD,
aware of it.
It's a pretty popular thing. So it helped me like turn down this noise in my head, because I got a lot of baggage from, occupational hazards and not so awesome relationships. And so a lot of noise up there doesn't, it's not good for sleeping. It's not good for sanity either. And CBD helped turn the noise down so I could have more positive self-talk, so I could figure my shit out. I eventually started a CBD company. And then from there, I'm like, I don't know how to run a e-commerce company or a supplements company. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm a Navy SEAL. So I figured it out. And then what I learned is I need to, and then 2020 happened. So I launched my company March 1st of 2020. And then right after that, the world pretty much shut down, which wasn't really a bad thing. Cause I'm like, okay, well, I got time to figure this out. And so I started hiring coaches to help me. Like, how do I sell? I don't even know how to do that. And then as I've gone through that, I've gotten more coaches, more mentors. It helped me. Like now I pay to find who my mentors are, how to find who's on my team. And then they connect me to other people that I'm building my new SEAL team now. And now I've transitioned. I still have CBD, but I've transitioned to, speaking and coaching or consulting or advising, whatever language you want to use for that piece of it.
Yeah. No, the thing what I always find interesting when people like start to they go through extreme sort of life change, they all there's many of the time I see them all talk about going at it alone and sort of running around in this field, thrashing around, like burning up a lot of energy, but like sort of not going in any one particular direction.
Yeah.
And it's not until they start like going, okay, you know what, who are people I can sort of bring into a team to help get some of that direction, to help sort of get a little bit of that focus going on, which, it's not the easiest thing to do, because especially if you're in the sort of position where it's like, you know what, I run things. Like people come to me to sort of like,
right.
That's all like, okay, here's a bit of humble pie. Time to bite down on it. And I go, yeah.
It doesn't work like that. If you build it, they will come. That was a movie. It doesn't actually work like that in real life.
No, Field of Dreams, lovely movie. Say no more.
Right.
But for you to like go, yeah, you know what? I need to rebuild the team. I need to have sort of mentors in my life to give them direction. Now, who was your first mentor, would you say?
So I reached out to I didn't have social media. I didn't have Facebook. I didn't have Instagram. And then people are like, as we're getting out, they're like, you need to have a social media presence. They should be able to Google you and find stuff about you. I am ungoogleable. Well, now I'm not, but at the time you couldn't find anything about me. Maybe a house that I bought once upon a time. But outside of that, you're not going to find anything about me. So I started like an Instagram account and I started some other stuff. And the first guy that I really connected with he was in my very first SEAL team. And he was, doing some stuff on the outside, pretty popular on Instagram. And then he posted something about a book called Man Up. And I listened to the book, book on tape. And I resonated with a lot of what he said. And that guy's name was Bedros Keuilian. And he's the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. He's got a supplements line. He's a business coach. He's got a software company. He's got a bunch of stuff. And he's gone through hardship and things broke down and he had to build them back up and they broke down again and he built them back up. And now he's, he does very, very well for himself. And so I met him at his event, one of his events, and then we connected. And then he took his family to Hawaii, and I linked up with him while he was, here in Hawaii over on Maui, and then we've just stayed connected ever since. And I've hired him several times to help me in some of his mastermind groups to help me sort of figure my stuff out. So he was my first real business figure your stuff out mentor.
Am I? And from that, what would you say was there now with that, getting your first mentor on board? What was there one sort of thing which was like the moment or like an epiphanal moment? You've raised a very good point, and this is where I've gone wrong for my sort of time out of the military.
I don't think there's ever been like one aha moment. There's just been a lot of maybe from the second coach that I hired, more of an aha moment where he's like, you need to be a consultant, you need to be a coach, you need to be in the helping leaders learn how to lead business. And I was like, no one wants to listen to me about or be on stage or anything else. And he just kept being constant. And eventually he said, everyone in this mastermind group needs to put together a signature presentation. And I already had kind of like the get naked idea. And I said it on a few podcasts about like getting naked is about taking your ego off, taking that baggage that you carry around on a daily basis off, that ego that you hide behind like body armor because you've been attacked however many times in your life. Like take that off, expose yourself, become vulnerable. And that's where the actual healing takes place. And so I had that as like, and get naked is a pretty good hook. Like people pay attention when you talk about getting naked. And so he's like, and so he talks about
the conversation with. Like, yes.
And so he was like, everyone in this group needs to create a signature presentation. Like this is your personal brand. Now I know you all have like businesses or you work for companies or whatever, but you need a personal brand that you can do. Like it's basically your TED Talk, where you can get on a TED stage and do like a 15-minute like deal, or you can like take it and go do an hour and a half, basically covering the same stuff, just different stories and whatever. And I was like, and so my buddy who connected me with Bedros, he had like an acronym that he used, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll do that. I'll make that the acronym. So naked became my acronym. And so naked now it's about still getting, taking that ego or that baggage off, but it also stands for, the N stands for never quit. The A is accept failure. The K is to kill mediocrity. The E is expose your fears, and the D is do the work. And they're not mutually exclusive. They all kind of work together. And so now that's my TED Talk that I can get on stage, any stage in the world, and give this presentation and create impact and, really affect in a positive way people's lives.
Wow. So how long did it take you from like leaving the military to basically to get to your get naked point? I had to say it like that because
probably like 3 years.
3 years, man.
Yeah.
Like 3 years. Was that just like intensive hard work, or was it a lot of stop and goes and like?
It was a lot of stop and go, a lot of like, I don't know where I'm going. Like a year ago, I had zero desire to be on a stage, to help people with coaching, help consulting, help advising, whatever. And now I have, a handful of clients where I'm able to really, from an outside perspective, using the knowledge that I have from coaches that I've gotten, lessons that I've learned from, my time as a civilian, my time as a business owner, my time in the military, all of this knowledge that I have, I'm able to impart it onto other people and help them grow their business, help them grow their relationships, whether it's their leadership in the organization or their relationships at home.
Because it's
oftentimes through my failures.
Yeah, I hear you. Because it's like, this is the thing. It's like you've had some explosive growth, like in many respects as an individual, as a person. Because look, don't get me wrong, being a Navy SEAL, there is many things like 90% of the population won't see, do, or experience the experiences you've had. But like, it doesn't mean there is no way you can still develop and grow as a person. And you must have had some like real explosive growth in areas you thought, wait a second, this is a surprise to me. What would you say those areas were? Apart from like,
I think a lot of them are just the maturity of so I say I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, again, who wants to talk to me? Who wants to listen to me? Like, I don't have anything to share.
I would disagree with you.
I had it. It took me, lots of people have had that. They're like, what are you talking about? So I had to figure out like, what is my message?
Mm.
and what is my purpose? And, I talked to you a little bit before the show. I've done well over 300 podcasts in the last 18 months. And it's through doing those podcasts, being asked some pretty hard questions that I kind of, and, doing that kind of self-discovery, self-reflection, because in the SEAL teams, we're just like, whoop, just go. Like the target, that's next mission. Let's go, 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 go. Never do we really step back, or I certainly didn't, and sort of do this sort of self-discovery, like, what am I doing? How are we going to do it better? We do after action reviews after we do an operation, we do a mission, we come back, what went right, what went wrong, what do we need to change, how can we make this better? And then we make it better and we go do it again. But I wasn't doing it in my own personal life. I wasn't doing it with my kind of how I was thinking about things, or I was just thinking like the next leadership position, the next thing, the next challenge that I have in front of me. And then when I got out of the military, I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Maybe I just need to go get a job, but I don't want to sit in a cubicle all day. Like I will die there. Or maybe I just want to go surf all the time and I just need to like go do that decompression for the next year or so and figure myself out. And then, but growth doesn't happen in isolation. So that was part of my growth, was surrounding myself with other people, finding coaches, finding people who are like-minded, people who are hiring the same coach to get similar results. Oh, how can I connect with you? So now through a lot of the, I paid to be a part of different coaching programs. I also got the network of many of those people to help me grow. I was able to, one of the, I paid a lot of money to Bedros for a coaching program, and I still pay him a good amount of money. And I was like, we had a live event, and I was like, Bedros, can I speak at this event? I promised to bring value, whatever. And he was like, yes. And I was like, thank you for having, I'm like, I promise that I probably won't screw it up. And so, I paid to speak to these people. And from that, I got speaking engagements. I got coaching engagements. So every time I get on stage and I'm able to speak and provide value, one, I like doing it just for the reps so that I tell a little bit of a different story. I get more comfortable being on stage. And when I tell people when I'm on stage or when I'm in front of a group, I'm like, you know what? I'm way more comfortable in a gunfight than I am talking to you right now. Public speaking terrifies me. And so if I stutter, if I get a little shaky in my words, just know that I'm nervous. I'll get over it, but I'm way more comfortable in a gunfight because that's what I trained for my entire adult life. And now it's a whole new kind of gunfight that I'm doing up here. So
I like the fact that you said, yeah, you put the reps in, because this is one of the things where many a person doesn't do that. They don't put in the reps and they don't sort of put in the sort of time and investment. And when I say time and investment, I go, right, I don't have the time to do this. And it costs far too much money to do that. And it's a case of you go, right, the time might be okay. It might be doing one or two things in a day, and just keep that continuously going. And it might make a hell of a difference to their lives. But to go, yeah, I had to put in the time. I had to invest in myself. I had to get the reps in to basically become this new person. Look, don't get me wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, you, the Navy SEAL, and you, the civilian, it's a huge gulf, if you get what I mean, in what is expected from you on a sort of day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? As much as you're a husband, father on one side of things, as a Navy SEAL, as a civilian, that must be you think it's different. It's not the same, I would imagine.
It's different in that I'm not doing it myself, but I certainly have to be self-motivated. But again, I've started to surround myself by people who are going to hold me accountable. So I have, I say, hey, I'm going to go do this. And if I don't do it, they're like, why haven't you done this? What's going on? What are you doing? And so, and I appreciate that. Like, I could get my feelings hurt, or I could hide behind, not telling them what I'm going to do, or thinking what I'm going to do. But I want that accountability. I want people to, just like I had in the SEAL teams, I want them to call me out if they call out my bullshit, if I'm throwing bullshit out there.
I like it. I like it a lot. Like building your new boat crew along the way. What's the plan with it? What's a Navy SEAL without a boat crew? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have to ask now, with everything you're doing, starting up a business like in March 2020, just as the world is melting and everything like this, and we're coming out from the other side. Now, becoming a prominent speaker, what do you want your journey to look like in the next few years?
That's a good question. I think I haven't been asked this question for a while, and I've certainly pivoted a bit since I was asked this question. The first time I was asked, I think, I had just started Naked Warrior Recovery, and I was like, our mission at Naked Warrior Recovery is to eliminate veteran suicide. So we have, we've lost more veterans to suicide at the rate of like 22 a day than we have, the veterans that we've lost in 20 years of sustained combat in two theaters of war. So that's our mission, is to eliminate veteran suicide. But I think, in addition to that, the impact that I'm doing now, if I can get more people, I don't know, I'll make it, let's just say 1 million people to understand the get naked mindset, build these audacious goals, these large, gigantic, audacious goals, to hear the get naked mindset. I think that will help improve people's lives. It will, help make the world a better place, because we got a lot of wokeness out here, and we got to crush the wokeness.
Yes, the realm of woke. It's like, yes, woke. Ironically, it rhymes with joke, but that's another story.
And I think the reason that's kind of top of mind is I posted something on LinkedIn, and they were like, "Thank the Lord you're not one of those woke, entitled, blah, blah, some other stuff." And I was like, yeah, it's just me.
Yeah, no, in that sort of realm of things, like, I think it's a case of, sometimes when it comes to some woke agendas, and because what woke started out as and what woke is today is it started out quite nobly, and now it's some crazy beast of a thing, which
right.
I think entitles people to some BS excuses for a lot of their lives. And I say this because I see it, and you go, yeah, but a lot of the stuff you're saying doesn't actually make logical sense. But
right.
That's another story. But with regards to veteran suicide, yes, 22 veterans each and every day lose their lives because of the pressures and the isolation which comes from that. It's one of those things where, over in the UK, Help the Hero, we've got an organization called Help the Heroes, and we've got the Royal Legion. Royal Legion. Basically, these are the Royal Legion's the biggest one for sort of veterans and everything like that. Help the Heroes is a newer organization, and they did the 22 push-ups a day for 22 days, and you nominated a person to do those push-ups. But it's one of those things which is you do your little 22 push-ups, you nominate someone, and then it's forgotten. It drifts away because it's not present. It's not really talked about. It's everyone hails everyone hails troops and people who serve as heroes in the moment, but when that moment passes, they are soon forgotten. ever so quickly, which is, I think, a bit of a travesty, a crime in many respects, from like the people at the top who are meant to, like, you know what I mean, provide and like look after these guys, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
And
so yeah, in the United States, we have several nonprofits that help with that, but still, there's still not enough help out there, and it's not coming from the military. It's not coming from the government. It's coming from people who are providing out of their own pockets. They're like, hey, I want to help. I want to be a part of this organization. I want to help veterans transition. I want to help, the Gold Star family. So a Gold Star family is someone who lost their significant other in the line of duty. And so I have a buddy of mine who's also who is also a SEAL. He has a nonprofit for paying off the homes of Gold Star families.
Yeah, no, I've had a conversation. It's gonna bug me, but yeah, I've had a conversation with a couple of like a lady who is a Gold Star family member, and some of the things she's been doing with the sort of hard work and trying to raise awareness of it, like of the Gold Star families and basically veteran plights. It's, let's just say, challenging, to say the least.
Yeah.
Very challenging. And sometimes I think it's a case of, it doesn't look like progress has been made, but it's been made. It's one of those things which is a slow process, to say the least.
Yeah, 100%. It's yes, you're correct.
Now, just to sort of make things easier for me. Now, you are a veteran of 300 plus podcasts. Now, I have to ask, what was one, apart from the rap battle, what was one of the weirdest questions you've had been asked of yourself, the most interesting question you've been asked of yourself, and the hardest question you've been asked of yourself?
Give me those three again. What was the first one?
What was one of the weirdest things you were asked for yourself, apart from a rap battle?
Okay.
Was the most interesting thing asked of yourself, and what was the hardest thing asked for yourself?
So let me think about that. Like, you took the rap battle away from me. So just because it's fresh in my mind. Weirdest. Let me come back to that one. Okay. I think the hardest question it wasn't really a hard question. It was just I wasn't used to being asked questions that were not pre-scripted. So I had done a handful of podcasts kind of in the beginning, and I pretty much knew what the questions were going to be before they were asked. And so it gave me time to kind of think about what they're going to be and and then I sat down with Bedros, who, again, first kind of business mentor, and he gave me like a half day of coaching, which he normally charges like 25 or 30K for that. But this was again during the lockdown, and I did this swim across the Hudson River. And he was going to have like this in-person event, but the governor wouldn't let him have it. And I said, hey, Bedros, are you going to have that event? He's like, no, the governor. And I said, oh, because I was going to like time my travel and then like stop in and do the event after the swim. And he's like, well, there's nothing that says that two friends can't like have lunch together. So I thought I was flying, I flew to New York to do the swim, and then I was flying to California to have lunch with this guy. And he gave me a full half day, which again, he charges 25 to 30 grand of coaching for that. And it was just like, and he bought the coffee. And so, and then he was like, okay, so what you need to do is you need to get on as like podcasts. You need to get on the biggest podcast you can possibly get on, that, you get there, know, like, and trust. And then he also had a podcast, and he was like, he's like, make a list of your top 20, like health and fitness, whatever, military, veteran, blah, blah, whatever. And like, get on like those podcasts. And some of those big name people, podcast people, have worked with Bedros, and they've got coaching from Bedros. So he was making calls, and they're like, "We're not sure about CBD yet. La la. Well, let's wait and see." And so, and then he turns to me and is like, "You want to be on my podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so the next day we did a podcast with him, and I was expecting the same kind of general questions, maybe questions that I had answered the day before in that coaching call. And he comes and he hits me with like questions like out of left field. They weren't really out of left field. He was just like trying to build, because he's got the reps in. He's done this a bunch of times. He wants to build my credibility right away. And then we'd sell CBD on the backside of it. And so he starts but I didn't know the script. I didn't understand what was really going to happen. And so he starts asking me questions that were like, okay, so what kind of training do you guys do? How do you do physical fitness? How do you do this and that? And I was like, I'm not ready for these questions. Wait, hold on. And so, it was being recorded, but I was like, oh my God, I'm like in the studio with the lights and the thing, and I can't see the camera. And I'm like, so it wasn't the questions were hard. I was just not prepared to answer anything that was off script. So over time, like I've done a lot. So you can pretty much hit me from just about any angle and I'll be able to pull something out of my butt, even a rap battle, if you push me into it. So I think hard question, that a long answer for, it was just me being early in the podcasting interview world of like answering questions off script. The most interesting question, I think rap battle just wins it all, but and showing up wearing a banana costume. Being asked, so what do you think about me showing up in a banana costume? It's a little weird, but we're going to work through it. I've had a lot of questions, which actually kind of led me down the road of doing the leadership coaching, business coaching and things like that about leadership. Everyone knows who David Goggins is. Everyone knows who Jocko Willink is. Not everyone knows who Rob O'Neill is. If you don't know who Rob is the guy who killed bin Laden. I've known Rob a long time. I went to buds with Rob. Rob and I went to sniper school together. Rob is the second best shot in the SEAL teams. I'm number one. Rob's not here to defend himself, so
Rob, I'm number one. Take that with you.
Exactly. But asking me questions about leadership and how to solve some of those problems. Again, I was like, oh, we're going to talk about naked. We're going to talk about CBD maybe, and then they start asking me like off script, like out of the blue questions on leadership and problem solving and things like that. And I like those questions. They're hard, they're interesting because they make me think about things that I'm not currently thinking about, and they actually have helped drive me in the direction that I'm going now. Yeah. So I don't think I answered any of your questions about questions, but I did a lot of talking.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You danced well. I'll let you dance because look, everyone needs to boogie every now and then. But yeah, but I have to ask this: what do you think defines a good leader?
A good leader is a person that is of service, someone who is providing a service to their subordinates. A bad leader is someone who is like, go do some stuff. A good leader is someone who is providing service, who gets out of their crystal palace, who gets down to that deck plate level, who makes bonds with the junior personnel, who competes with the junior personnel, who asks for help from the junior personnel. Those attributes make a good leader.
What makes a great leader?
Consistently doing those things.
Okay.
You can do them once. That was good. Do them over and over and over.
I hear you.
I think consistency is the answer.
Consistency is always the answer, I find. Like basically it's the universal power of everything. You like people like go, what do you mean consistency? Now, if you go out there and you consistently do bad things in your life, you'll get the consistent result would be negative things will come your way. You might get the occasional random thing where just the loads of odds and something good will happen from the bad things you're doing, but it's taking you down one path. You consistently do good things, yes, it'll take you down that consistently, that a good path. As before, randomly, some like a bad thing can happen because, hey, that's the world and that's life in general. But people don't, they tend to ignore it. And when you go, right, you put like, you are the constant in the equation of life. And what sort of consistent actions you do will most part determine where you'll end up in either a positive place or a negative place. But it's up to you to take that responsibility. I think people fail to do that, and they kind of like palm it off and like try to go, no, it was that person or this person, when it's like, look in the mirror and realize it's you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to, the old saying that practice makes perfect, where that is actually not the case. Practice makes habits, and it's whether you have good habits or bad habits.
Yeah. Like, so with like many of the habits we build, like if someone came to you and went, yeah, I need to make a change in my life, in my like direction. I've seen what you've done. What would you say to them?
I would ask them, what kind of change and where do they want to go? If you don't have direction, if you don't have an idea of the direction that you want to go, you're going to go in circles. You're not going to have, actually wrote down navigation earlier because that was some stuff that you kind of talked about, you kind of brought up. If you don't have a direction that you want to go, why are you making changes? At least have an idea of the direction. Do you want to go towards that mountain, or do you want to go away from the mountain? Do you want to go this direct? Like, where do you want to go? And then I can help you plot a course to get where you're going. It's not going to be it's not going to be a straight path. There's always going to be things that are going to be in the way. You're going to get lost along the way, but then you have to like find your way back up to high ground. You're going to be in this jungle, and you're going to have to find your way back up to high ground. Like, where's my landmark again? Oh, there it is. And then adjust course and go that direction. Or you're under a ship with a compass and you're trying to navigate and the compass is doing this. One of the things that you have to do in the SEAL teams when we're doing an attack on a ship, you can't trust your compass. You trust your compass all the way up until you have this giant thing of metal over your head, and then your compass doesn't work anymore. So the way that you leave the ship when you're under it and it's absolutely pitch dark, the most darkness you've ever seen in your life, you put your back, you and your swim buddy, you're connected with a rope, you're back against the ship, you turn your compass upside down and you close your eyes. It's dark. Why do you need to close your eyes? Close your eyes. Put your back against the ship, tell your buddy we're going, and you kick off and you put your compass in front of you, you look down, you close your eyes, and you count to 30. And in about 30 seconds, you're going to be far enough away from the ship. Then you can turn your compass over and look at it and see the direction that you're actually going. And then you can adjust accordingly. But sometimes you have to like close your eyes and kick off and just go in a straight direction. Don't even worry about what's going on or what your compass is doing. Just go in a straight direction for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then turn your compass over and then get your bearing. Because sometimes that ship is just going to screw up your compass and you're just going to go in circles. So you need to know where you want to go. And sometimes you need to go on blind faith in that direction.
Blind faith. So many people need faith in their lives, but seldomly they don't take upon it. It's very, very true. But like, got to say, I do like that, pushing off into the dark and relying on blind faith. Now, I have to ask, if there was 3 things you like, could do with in the next 10 years, what would those things be? Would they be epic? Would they be small? Would they be grand? Would they be just personal? What would those three things really be?
That's a good question. Definitely sort of my personally, I would like to be on a TED stage. What are two other things that I would want to do in the next 10 years? I want to do the TED stage in less than a year.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't put that much. I'm still focused on growing what I have. I don't have anything more audacious than what I said earlier, reaching 1 million people with the Get Naked mindset. Some of that is through podcasts, interviews. Some of it is being on stage, and other pieces of it are other people talking about the Get Naked mindset, how it has impacted their lives.
I hear you. TED stage, huh? TEDx.
Yeah, why not?
Or like just straight TED? There's a difference.
You know what? I don't know the difference.
I basically, TEDx is, TEDx, it's a little bit more sort of general, and then TED is meant to be a slightly more grander stage. But I like to go, to know the blow by blow of all of it. No, I do not. But yeah, TED, I think you can do it in, 2 years. Yeah, why not?
Let's do TED then.
Okay.
Maybe both TEDx and TED.
Oh, yes. Who knows? Like, hey, might have you might even have you on Joe Rogan talking away. You never know.
You never know. It's a hard one to get a hold of, though.
I'm sure. Now, yeah. So I have to ask, your sort of fitness regime. This would mostly be one of the last questions I ask of you. Do you still stick to the level, not the levels when you're in the actual services, but is fitness still important to you on any sort of level?
Yeah, I actually think I'm in better shape now than I was while I was in the SEAL teams. Because it's one of those, in the teams, you had to do it. You had to show up in the morning, you go PT, you go do a 2-mile ocean swim, you do calisthenics, you do a long run, you do all these things. And then when you get out, it's like, what do you want to do? And so there were fitness goals that I kind of had in the SEAL teams, but again, it was like, I have to work out, so therefore I don't want to work out. Now I want to work out, so I go work out. Yeah. And but it's on my terms. It's not on someone else's terms. Like when I'm deployed, you don't have to work out when you're deployed, but everyone gets in way better shape on deployment because they're doing it on their own time. You do it on your own schedule, on your own, I want to whatever. I want to squat 500 pounds or deadlift or bench or whatever your thing is. And then guys come back from deployment and they're just yoked. And then they get smaller doing all the stuff that the team wants them to do. So now I'm on perpetual deployment. So I do what I want to do. I work out the way that I want to work out. And as it turns out, I'm in better shape now because I'm focusing more on recovery and the things that I wanted to do. I'm in better shape now than I was actually in the SEAL teams.
Yeah. Look, I just had to ask because look, this is a very man. Your shoulders give you away completely.
I look at myself and I'm like, oh, I'm like a skinny little guy on the TV there.
Yeah, all I've got to simply say is the TV is not lying. I don't know what screen you've got, but yeah, nevertheless. Now, I have only but one question before we call this to an end, to bring it to like everything like this. Now, what is one thing you have been grateful for? What's brought you gratitude in the last year?
Golly, that's because I have so much gratitude, from family support to family wasn't always as supportive as, but you know, they let me go and do it and figure it out. I think, you know, my family not saying you're never going to make it. Why are you doing that? Why don't you just go get a W-2 job? And that's part of it. But I think, you know, the gratitude of the feedback that I get, and I one of my coaching clients, I was talking to him about this, is that he's like, I'm not fulfilled. I don't have this. And I'm like, bro, and he's made millions of dollars. And I'm like, listen, consider coaching or advising or whatever in different capacities, because the gratitude that I get from, you know, whether I post something online and someone, you know, DMs me and they're like, thank you, I needed that today. Like the fulfillment that I get from that, like, is not measurable. When someone says thank you for whatever, thank you for, like, you've impacted my life, my family, my business, my leadership, my whatever, like, I can't even like my cup is like running over from gratitude. So it's kind of, again, dancing, long answer for a short question. There's not like a clear definitive thing, but yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And like, this is the thing, like, yeah. With regards to the reason why I often ask people about, like, yeah, what they're grateful for, what brings them that realm of gratitude, is because so many people get caught up with the sort of small things, the petty things in life, and don't appreciate, like, the things with the gifts which life has given them, the advantages over others. And when, like, you go, yeah, what are you grateful for? It helps, I think, sometimes shake them out of it. And I go, yeah, the healthy people have gratitude. Unhealthy people see nothing but problems, you know?
Right. They're eternal victims.
Absolutely. Hey, and I can't say that's, William, that's definitely not you. Let's just say, definitely not say that. Yeah, but I got to say, William, man, like, hey, it has been a pleasure and honor to meet you today.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you as well. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Can you tell the lovely people out there how they can find you out on these internets?
So I would say, if you are interested in learning how to think like a Navy SEAL, go to the website 5sealsecrets.com and put your name and email in there, and I will email you a copy of 5 SEAL Secrets. And it's really the secret is get naked, never quit, accept failure, kill mediocrity, expose your fears, and do the work. So these are the 5 SEAL Secrets. If you're interested in, I don't know if I can ship to the UK CBD, but I've got some apparel. Maybe we can work something out. If you go to nw-recovery.com, or you can find me on Instagram mostly at william.r.branum or Naked Warrior Recovery.
Yep.
Either one of those gets me. And that's where I'm most active, is Instagram.
Okay, that's great. Put it this way. Yeah, I think the apparel, yes. Like the CBD.
We're not sure about that. I don't know. And if you're interested in coaching or me coming out to, you know, speak in an event, we can, you know, go to 5sealsecrets.com and then, you know, reply to the email that I send you. Maybe check your spam folder, because sometimes my emails do go there. I am a guy off the internet, so it does happen. But yeah, for sure. Let me know. Reach out. Hit me up. Say hi.
Oh, I will say hi. Yes, I hope you, my friends, my life warriors, say hi to William as well. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you, my friends, my life warriors, for sticking with us to the end of the show. Please stay safe, stay well, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic. Be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. And yeah, appreciate those people you love out there. Yes. Peace. And we are